Hello, folks, and we got to talk first about XRP today. And Garlinghouse actually came out and explained why, despite the regulatory clarity, and yes, they do have the regulatory clarity now, XRP adoption has still kind of sagged. He actually has admitted it's been kind of sagging even since then. It's been a couple of months, and I know a lot of pundits, XRP fans, are expecting all-time high pretty much when the court case settled. And even John Deaton, the pro XRP lawyer who's loaded his bags, he did say on Twitter he did expect XRP to, I think, reach an all-time high soon after the lawsuit, and maybe $10 in a couple of months or like next year or something. And obviously that's not really happening. If you look at XRP, it's about 65 cents right now, and that's because mostly because Bitcoin's climbed from essentially $25,000 to $37,000 in the last couple of weeks. Bitcoin itself has gone up about 50%, lifting all the other coins up. And some people are looking at coins like Solana and others that have taken gigantic leaps up. Now, Solana itself is probably an FTX pump, so realistically, I don't think XRP is going to be able to match that. There's a lot of longs on Solana, and especially in the secondary market, and that's kind of what's pulling Solana up right now. But for XRP itself, it's been holding its ground, but it hasn't really gone insane like a lot of people thought it would. And Garlinghouse said, well, we got regulatory clarity, but that doesn't mean there's other U.S. institutions, well, not so much institutions, but offices like the OCC, the Office of the Comptroller, that are still somewhat hostile towards XRP. They can't stop banks from using it, but when banks see that they're not all in for it, banks will hold back. Now, that's a fair point, but I feel like if banks thought it could actually save them a lot of money and get them a huge edge over the competition, I feel like, they would actually be all for it because all of them are in competition for each other. And, just because the OCC is kind of hostile towards it, I don't really expect that to really stop them if there was a lot of money in it. The other thing is international banks are also not really adopting it, and that's something that's harder to explain away. You could say the worldwide regulations just really aren't there for these big banks to adopt it, but I'm not really sure how much of an excuse that can actually be. But I think Garlinghouse does actually make a decent point that several American offices or regulators are still not comfortable with it despite the court giving them regulatory clarity. And if that's the case, it's going to take several years, if not decades, to actually switch over. So I don't think it will actually blow up next year any more than the rest of the coins will during the bull run. So thing is, I'll take Garlinghouse's explanation right now because it seems at least somewhat plausible at this point. But despite Garlinghouse's explanation, that's not really going to be changed anytime soon. And I suppose XRP does rely more on the regulations than other coins, because other coins doing DeFi and stuff, they might not be as afraid of the regulations as banks that are actually adopting it. And other businesses that are actually adopting Hedera and stuff like that, I don't think they're quite as afraid of regulations as banks and remittances and actual money transfer are, because there's a lot of licenses in that mix. So yeah, I'll take Garlinghouse's explanation for right now, but we'll have to see the developments over the coming next couple of years. We'll have to see how the price actually develops, because I'm not willing to wait another 10, 20 years for this to blow up, because you can't really measure what things are going to be 10 or 20 years from now in the realm of crypto. They could be something entirely and utterly different, and there's just very little way to tell, how that's actually going to play out, 20 years from now, as opposed to, let's say, tomorrow or something like that, or in the next year, in the next bull run. So I do think, since you kind of missed the boat in the last bull run by sticking with XRP, I do think you really have to gauge the performance of it in this bull run. If it still doesn't break the all-time high for 2 bull runs in a row, it is definitely to kind of take your money and diversify somewhere else, because who knows how long it could take, and you're basically missing the big multipliers elsewhere if you're not getting it in this bull run. Now, if you just started investing in it yesterday, I suppose you have the patience, but for those of us that have been in the market for 5-6 years and we haven't really seen that much of an increase, well, then that's another story altogether, especially when you have coins like Solana or Cardano that went up like 100x last bull run, and most likely, it won't go up 100x this bull run, but most likely will actually gain a new all-time high this bull run as well. So yeah, Garlinghouse's explanation is not bad, but the performance of the coin is very key, and I still hold to my point, both for all cryptos, not just XRP, that this industrial utility won't ever really affect price. The volume is just not there. And obviously, I think the market is mainly limited to remittance payments. I think the derivative stuff is just kind of like a wild pipe dream, like most of the other stuff that they've actually been talking about. So that's my view on it there, and that's kind of like my take on what Garlinghouse's kind of like new explanation was. Cardano has introduced a new groundbreaking development tool. And this one's actually written in Java, so none of this Haskell stuff, pretty cool. It's called LedgerSync, a Java-based tool enriching the capabilities of developers in building on the blockchain. Very much needed for Cardano. You need more developers on the blockchain, developing more protocols, locking more money in. Obviously, Cardano had a pretty big price surge too, going from 24 cents all the way up to like 38 cents right now, but that also has to do with Bitcoin rising as well. So they recently announced a blog post that its engineering department is taking the lead in developing a provisioning tool to enhance access to data on the Cardano blockchain. And it's called LedgerSync, which gives more access to Cardano's blockchain data. And obviously with more blockchain data, you can actually build more applications. It improves access to Cardano information. And that will actually allow, developers to really develop more in-depth applications, as well as like more in-depth computational applications to suit the users better. Basically, it was recently revealed that Cardano now leads crypto development activity across the globe. According to Sentiment, Cardano leads the pack ahead of Polkadot, Kusama in the top 3. But, that really hasn't translated to price increase yet. I do think it will in the bull run if there's a lot of buzz, a lot of development around your blockchain. Obviously, that's a pretty good precursor for your price going up because people do get excited about these things. The more people talk about your blockchain, the more people that are involved in developing your blockchain, the more investment money it can draw from outside sources. And obviously, that's very good for Cardano users. And yeah, if they get new protocols, I think it'll attract more money to those new protocols as well as attract some money back to the older protocols. So that's why that's cool for Cardano. There's 55 million Polygon tokens that have actually gone to Coinbase. Now, generally when this happens, you can get ready for a sell-off. That's not always the case, but I think it's like 50% of the time it is, so you kind of need to be careful. And of course, there's concern among Polygon investors. So millions of Matic were sent to Coinbase, but the token resisted a nosedive. They might have actually not been sold yet, and they might be sold over time, which would mitigate some of the effect. In 3 separate posts on X, formerly Twitter, Whale Alert disclosed that over 55 million Polygon tokens have been sent to Coinbase Exchange. The whale tracking handle noted that the transfers were from unknown addresses, so it could just be another big whale ready to dump on Polygon. Now, how much this would actually affect Polygon, I'm not really sure, but I think if it was sold over a small amount of time, it would actually have significant effect. Because Polygon, while it is one of the major coins, one of the major L2s, it's not quite Bitcoin, so selling 55 million of these tokens at once, even though the overall supply is much bigger than that, if it would happen on one exchange, I do think it would force the price down. Layer 2 overall has actually been performing fairly well, but a big dump like this, if it actually happens, could definitely dampen the mood. So yeah, this is like something that you need to actually watch out for. Whale Alert on Twitter will actually keep you up to date on this. So obviously, I'm hoping that this is not a big sell-off for the sake of Polygon users. But even if they sell off 55 million within a week or two, I do think it'll pull it down maybe 5% or so, maybe 10%, and then it can just go back up as people up the buying pressure. Obviously, it depends a lot more on if Bitcoin goes up during that time period. I believe if Bitcoin goes up during that time period, even if they do sell, it will be absorbed very well. It just won't go up as much as the other coins. But if Bitcoin starts going down and they start selling at the same time, that could lead to an ultra mega dump, which could be an opportunity for you to pick up more Polygon tokens if you are actually interested in Polygon. I'm still pretty confident in layer 2 that will do pretty well. I don't think Ethereum's going away from layer 2 anytime soon. It would take them forever to do that anyways. And overall, like, if people want to escape from Ethereum fees, I think many of them will actually go to layer 2. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.